Okay. Jose and I just had a team meeting about what's going on. So this is going to serve as my before. So, and it's cold out here, y'all. My nose is running from the cold. I'm sorry. You're going to hear me sniffling. But these are the onions that went in. I showed that on video. Jose added uh, leaves to the top of all of it. And we've gotten some rain and some cold temperatures since then. So this right here stays. Like, it's fine. It's going to live its life through the winter. Over here, this bed for now, I'm ignoring. Okay. We've got bigger things to worry about. So this is, today it stays. Jose also put a bunch of leaves down in the olive trees. And I'm going to show y'all this. I looked the other day, freaking rose started blooming. I went, what is going on? But that's because we have weird temperatures. It goes down to 35 and then it gets back up to 75. But so there's leaves here. Okay. Now let's talk about what we're working on. So first of all, our county lifted the burn ban, so we're able to burn all of the sticks we've been collecting that have been falling out of the trees. But so this area right here, we have this row and we have this row. And then you can see Jose made like a line right here with the hoe a minute ago while we were talking. So today I'm going to chop everything out of here. What can go to the chickens is going to go to the chickens. What needs to go to compost will go to compost. He's going to clear out all this stuff that I have sticking everywhere that I haven't picked up yet. And he will start working on building up these 2 rows so that whatever we leave in there can compost over winter. Okay, so these rows are staying for next season. The only difference is that on that end, they'll extend a little bit closer to the fence. And here, let's see if I can get an angle. The end of the rows is going to come out, but end in a like a diagonal, right? We're going to leave a walkway, and since there may be a gate here someday, we're going to leave room for that and to get through with a wheelbarrow or whatever we need to. And so these should end at an angle. Okay, so that's what's happening there. Everything in the middle is just going to keep doing what it's doing right now. It's not a priority today. We have this row that's already established, but this section from fence over is going to be reworked because these metal things are coming out. These beds are coming out, these 2. We're going to try to kill or dig up the volunteer berry that's right here because this is going to become, I think, 3 rows. So what we decided to do, because this side requires more work than that side over there, we're going to start here. But for these things, I walked out here this morning and I was looking around, and you can see we got some really low temperatures this past week. And so a lot of things really got nipped really bad. And I went to Jose and said, look, I think it's time to just give up on it. Like, the season is over. It's time to start thinking about next year. So after I clean out those 2 rows over there, I'm going to come over here, and what we're going to do is we're going to chop and drop everything that's here, and we're going to just leave it in this dirt. And that way, whenever we do get to building the rows, we'll have some composting things already in there. So rather than taking all of this material and put it into the compost, for the first time, we're going to actually let it compost in place. We're going to chop and drop, which we've never done before. So I'm excited to see how that turns out. But all of these things, like the little greens that I had chopped earlier that are coming back, I'm going to go ahead and give everything to the chickens. Today will probably be their last day to get fresh green stuff from the garden for the season. And then I had pulled all of the, you can see, like there was a few little peppers that were trying to come, but I had pulled everything that was ready to go before the cold came in. And so whatever's here, it's just, we're done with it. because I was like, I would rather start thinking about spring now than trying to work around things where we're trying to like salvage our last 3 tomatoes of the year, right? Like it's time to move forward and start making progress because we have so much work to do. Because and then I think I'll show y'all this. I think I'm going to try to save these 2 pepper plants. I've never done it. I've never overwintered plant peppers, so we're going to try it and see. So this weed fabric here, you can see it. This actually extends over to the edge here. You can see the edge of it right there. That's just going to stay, but all the rest of the weed fabric and the whole rest of the garden is going to come up. Jose's very ambitious, so that's all going to come up, so that we don't have to mess with it again next year. When we made these rows this year, we just cut slits down the weed fabric and left it in place. So that's all going to come up. All of this grass eventually will have to come up. Underneath here is just weed fabric and mulch, and the grass just grew right on top of it, and we just let it go. Probably not smart, but and then there's some places like over here that never had any weed fabric. That's just like yard. So that's where we are. Let me back up and see if I can get you a full view of everything. Now we'll see how much of this we get done today. I'm already really cold. I need the temperatures to come up just a little bit. So this area over here is what we're gonna. Well, I'm actually gonna go do some stuff in the chicken coop first, but then that's gonna be my first priority. Jose's burning all the trash. We like to burn the sticks and stuff instead of like making a pile and letting the city come pick them up. And then this over here is priority number 3 for me. So chickens, those 2 rows, and then this stuff here. And we'll see how much we get done. We're also going to go ahead and move everything that we had kind of pulled over here. Everything that we have closer to freezing temperatures, which means here where we live, it may actually get freezing. We may actually get a freeze coming in the next, I think it's Sunday night or Monday night. I can't remember. It's in the next couple days. So all of this stuff is going to actually go in because Jose did put up some plastic. So they don't have to be completely covered and protected, but we are going to get them in there today so that then we don't have to worry about it like on a work day, like a job day, because today's going to be an outside work day. That's where we are. This tomato we're going to try to save, this patio tomato. Let me see. A couple of new things this year that we're going to try and just see what happens. So I need to record some audio to go over this footage that I took. And so I'm just going to record myself kind of sitting. This is my carnivore vlog spot, even though I am aware I need to come up with something more interesting to look at besides my wall. I was just watching a video, and if you've watched the carnivore vlog, you know that in the last few days I've been kind of in a funk. It's interesting because I'm looking up, right? I'm in my bedroom, or our bedroom, and I'm looking up, and our vision board is there, and I suddenly have a million things I want to talk about. When earlier today, when I had tons of time, I couldn't come up with anything. My brain was just nothing, right? And I'm looking at the vision board, and I'm realizing that some of this stuff is has shifted in the last few months. I actually redid this at the beginning of 2025 because that was a big change for me personally. 2025, the start of 2025. And maybe I'll talk about that. I actually had this conversation earlier today in class because one of my students, and of course they're adult students, I teach adult students, adult education. One of my students said something about, it's almost 2026. Are you excited for the new year? And we started talking about it, and I went back with them and just kind of, they give me a piece of their lives, and they tell me stuff about their children and their parents and things, and so I give them a piece of me too. And I explained to them, because they haven't known me very long. I explained to them about how on July 19th, 2024, which was my mom and dad's wedding anniversary, their 44 years of being married, my dad had to go to the emergency room because of COVID. And he had a really bad case that had some, he wasn't like put in the hospital or anything, but it did have some lasting effects. 2 weeks later, on August 1st, 2024, my mom had her first stroke. What followed was 7 weeks of 2 extended hospital stays, hospice coming into the home. My brother and sister having to travel back and forth from the cities they live in, back to mom and dad's house. Me working weird, crazy hours, working off-site so that I could get my hours. Anyways, that all resulted in hospice, which ended with my mom passing at 11:15 p.m. on September 10th, which was her mother's birthday, my granny's birthday. Her legal time of death was actually September 11th, because Dad and I had waited to call hospice to come in and call the time of death and prepare her to be taken by the memorial home. Anyway, so I was alone in the room with Mom when she died. I was the only one there, and I knew she was going to die that day. I had actually said it weeks before, that she was going to hold out until Granny's birthday. And she held out until 11:15 p.m., until the day was almost done. Maybe someday I'll talk about the hours leading up to her actual death, but right now it's just, I think that at the time, and ever since then, I have thought, I'm glad it was me. Like, I actually kind of configured it. I wanted it to be me. I knew she was going to pass that day. My aunt was going to stay with her overnight, her sister, because my aunt had been staying with her on the nights when one of the kids couldn't. Dad, of course, was at home all the time. He just, there's only so much one person can do. So overnights had to be double covered. And I always thought that it needed to be me, because I was the one that could deal with it the best, right? I have been told throughout my years by family members and other people that I am very strong, and that I am, and I'll tell you, in an emergency, I'm the one that you want around. I keep a cool head. I don't panic. After the fact, I will probably lose it, but in the moment, I'm the one. I'm the one. I'll make the phone calls. I'll deal with whatever needs to be dealt with. I got it. And so when I knew it was time for Mom to pass, I wanted it to be me, and it was. And I don't know if I'm ashamed. I'm not ashamed to say. I'm going to be real honest. She fought really, really hard. At the end, she was so stubborn. And that day, I actually kind of fussed at her. I was alone in the room with her, and I told her, it's enough. This is enough, Mom. This is enough. You can't take care of us anymore. We're going to be fine. You got to go. It's time. You got to go be with Jesus. It's time for you. It's time for you to move on into the streets of gold. Go be with your parents. Go be with my brother. Just go. And I was kind of not nice about it, the way I said to her. Not ugly, but it was very forceful. I was like, it's enough. This is enough. And then she passed that night, and I was there. And if you've been with me through these videos through any length of time, you know that I often bring up my mother's passing. And I believe that it's because I haven't dealt with it completely. I think that it's one thing So like I lost my brother, who was my best friend in my whole wide world. He was very young. He was only 28. And that was difficult. But I got the call on that one and went there, right? I didn't watch it happen. But I stood next to my mom and I watched her take her last breath. And then I realized that I had to go get my dad and tell him that the love of his life was dead. Oh, okay. We're not going to cry on film. Um, I think that was harder on me than I know it was. Does that make sense? I think I keep bringing it up because I'm almost like daring myself to deal with it, to process it. And every time I shut it down because that's what I do, right? And so I've been in this little bit of a funk, and it's not even a major funk. I don't know what it is, but things just, I've gotten a lot better about paying attention to the subtle little things. I, the subtle signs, the things that keep popping up. And I've had periods in the last few months since I've been making so many changes in my life. I've had periods where different things have popped up. And here in these last few days, I think healing is what I need to do. I think healing and maybe even a little bit of a loss of my control issues, right? I need to give up some control. So then, of course, I was just sitting here. My husband calls me every day after work on his way home, and I'm waiting for him to call. I decided to video, even though because I have no idea what time he's going to leave. It always they close it. They close at a certain time, but anyways, sometimes he has other stuff. Anyway, so I'm waiting, and I decide to watch this video. It's a YouTuber that I watch, and she's talking about kind of the place she's at, and she shares a lot of her personal life with the world, and so I have a really good grasp of what she's going through. At least I know the story. I haven't experienced some of the things that she goes through, but I do think that there is like a sisterhood, a common thread between moms, and when you're a mom and things involve your children, you have an idea, right? An idea at the very least. What I try not to do is I try really hard not to project that onto myself, because the thought of anything happening to my children, which is inevitable, right? Because things happened to me, my mom had to deal with it. Things have happened to my siblings, my parents had to deal with it. Like, anyway, what I'm babbling right there. Anyway, she was talking about rest, about how it's okay to rest, how we need to give ourselves permission to rest. And the first thing I thought of was when I left teaching. When I was a high school teacher, and I left teaching, and I broke a contract, and I left in the middle of the year. After I left, it was 2 or 3 full days that I didn't do anything. I laid on the couch. I I don't even remember if I fed my family, or if, because they were old enough, I was like, put something in the microwave, take care of it. I didn't do anything. And I remember acknowledging at the time that it was because I had been wound so tight and just balled up with the stress of teaching, and the stress of teaching through COVID, and then that year of teaching with a mask on, and then the behavior of the students, and all of the expectations put on teachers, and how I wasn't measuring up, and I felt like I was being, set up to fail, and all of it, was in every cell of my body. And when I didn't have to get up and go to school, I just went to the couch and I just rested. I just, for days, I let all of it just drain out of me. I didn't know at the time that that's what I needed. I remember like within a week, I acknowledged, I was like, oh yeah, okay. I was like recovering. My nervous system was recovering from all of the stress. And I'm not saying I'm a special case and I was the only one that was stressed. I'm just saying that if you know teachers that have been through that and they're still teaching, then they're supposed to be. They're stronger than I am in for that career. And um, that release, that letdown, that time, that period of rest is the actual reason why I say I won't ever teach again. I briefly considered it for financial reasons, and I didn't go back, and I'm glad I didn't, because I'm reminded now that I don't want to ever require 3 immobile days to recover from anything, right? I mean, things happen, but I don't want to ever choose something that's going to make me feel that way. And I know that if I go back to teaching in the public education system at the high school level, that all of that would wind back up and it would build back up. And I would be in the same place again. And I don't want to do that. Part of the freedom of me leaving this last job when I was unhealthy. And oh, there's Jose. Okay, sorry. Jose did call. I told you I was waiting for him to call. So he did. And anyway, I think where I was talking about never putting myself in that position again, and how um, I I kind of ended up close to that position again in this last job that I left. And while I didn't um, like break down, I didn't like hit the couch for 3 days. This time I actually like left that and then instantly went into the new thing where I'm doing gig jobs, and then quickly got the job teaching in the GED program. And so since September 5th, which was my last day at that job, I have been working steadily ever since. And I'm wondering if this little bit of a funk that I've been going through isn't me resting. Like, I pushed it too far. And I don't necessarily mean physically resting, I mean emotionally resting. Maybe I pushed it too far with the go, 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 and didn't take enough time to reflect and take care of myself. And so I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe that's not what this is, this little funk I'm in right now. But I do know that I've been this close to tears multiple times today. And that's unusual for me. And I think one of the problems, one of the reasons why I struggle the way I do is because I always get this close to tears and then I don't let it out. I suck it back in and I move on. And what I know for a fact is that if I would just let it out, it would be so much easier for me to actually move on and to actually heal from whatever, even if it's a tiny thing that I need to heal from or a big thing. But I have a lifetime of buck up, little camper, get yourself together, go get your shit done, and move on with life. So I find it so I find it so interesting. And yes, I find myself to be a hypocrite, because one of the conversations I have with my husband often is about how men have a harder time expressing their feelings. And I'm always trying to get him to tell me his feelings. And of course, he wasn't raised that way. And of course, it's not comfortable for him. It's not comfortable for a lot of men, and especially men of our age. And then I turn around and I, get a Kleenex and dab the tears out of my eyes before they can fall. And I go back to whatever I was doing and I don't think about it. So what happens then is that whatever that feeling was that was in my brain, I don't compartmentalize, right? The way some people do. They go, oh, You put it in a box and then you leave it there and you either come back to it later or you never come back to it ever again. I think I do that, right? I'm like, okay, I'll deal with that later. But really what happens is I put it in the box and then the box spills over my entire brain. And in my subconscious and in the background, it's always there, like making a mess. And I don't recognize it in the moment. It's always after the fact. And so one of the things I am working on is being better about recognizing it faster. I would love to be able to actually recognize my emotions in the moment and define them accurately, right? Because I often misdefine what I think something is. And so I'm working on that. I do know that I need to stop. I also do this thing where, like, the feeling that I had right before I sat down here to record, the feeling of, I need to talk about that, or I need to write about it. But the reason why I'm talking about it is because I know I needed footage. I needed sound bites for this. And also because I've talked before about how this kind of verbal journaling is really good for me. But I do also need to write about it. Writing, journaling has always been a big part of my healing and my ability to focus and get clarity. And so, but that feeling hit me. And so I instantly came in here, like, there's terrible light. There's been terrible light all day. I don't know what's going on. There's terrible light. There's nothing behind me to look at. I'm not doing point of view because I have this other footage of Jose and me working this weekend. But anyways, I was like, I gotta talk about it right now. I gotta get it out. And so I will tell you that at the end of this, there is not an aha moment that I have to share right now. Aside from the fact that I am more acutely aware of the fact that I know some things I need to process. I am more acutely aware of the fact that jumping from the situation I was in with my previous job straight into working and trying to get so good so fast at something new and putting that kind of pressure on myself is not good for me. The perfectionism I have exhibited since I was a child can rear its head in really ugly ways. And I think the thing, now that I'm thinking about it, I think the thing that really set off this funk for me is that I did an order and I made a mistake. I left what I assume is a really important item off of a delivery. Maybe I'll give the whole story someday, but anyway, and even though I did that, the person still tipped me a really big amount. And the guilt, the guilt of getting that generosity when I made a mistake is killing me. Like, I wish y'all could have seen me when I realized I made the mistake. I was already home. I live in a different town than I work in. And I realized I made the mistake. I actually realized it when the tip came in and I went and looked at it and I saw the order total and I was like, wait, her order shouldn't have been that much. There was only this, this, and this. And then I remembered the big ticket item that I forgot to get from the people at the store. That was, they hold it until you walk out. Anyway, I went to pee because I knew I was about to drive back into town, because I was going to go and I was going to get that. And and it was a 30-minute delivery to begin with. It was already an out of town delivery to begin with. So I was about to go back to that town, pick it up, go back to the delivery town, drop it off. But I needed to call support. So I called support and they were like, you can't do that. Like, it was a mistake. And I told, like, you should have heard me. I was on support going, I don't want these people to think I stole from them because I did not steal it. I just forgot. I made a huge, huge mistake. I was mortified and I was panicked, like irrationally panicked. Today, I can look back on it and go, yes, you made a mistake. Yes, you did not do your job perfectly. In the moment, I thought it was the worst thing that could have happened. Like, I screwed up. I screwed up. It's the worst thing that can happen. I can't screw up. I have to be perfect. And obviously, I couldn't do anything about it. They were like, the customer's going to get a refund. And I even asked them, I was like, can they change their tip? Can they take their tip away? Because they need to take their tip away. I didn't earn that. I messed up. I didn't earn that tip. And they said maybe they can. They didn't even actually know, but the tip stayed. And so I called Jose, and of course he talked me off, down from the ledge and calmed down. And then by the time he made it back home, I was like, look, here's the story I'm going to tell myself. That person ordered that high dollar item on impulse. And then I didn't include it. I forgot it. And so by the time their order got to them and I delivered it, they had actually changed their mind and regretted that they had ordered that. And they were grateful that I forgot them and they were going to get a refund because now they didn't have to take them back to the store. And I literally have to tell myself that story to make me feel better about the fact that I made a mistake. And please don't get me wrong, this is not me not taking accountability. I was ready to correct the mistake. Part of the problem I have is when I can't be the one to correct my mistake. I hate that. If I make a mistake, I own up to it and I want to fix it. And I can't because of the way that the platform works. I couldn't be the one to go fix it. If that person wanted that item, they were going to have to put in a separate order. And so that was killing me. And so I made up this story to tell myself about how I actually helped that person. Because all I want to do is help people. That's another thing we were talking about. Oh, I never got back to the whole point of the story. But anyways, okay. So it works together. The other things that I was telling my student that had asked about the new year, I was like, so anyways, 2024 was a crappy year. I had a hard time. A lot of bad things happened. And so I was really excited for 2025. And I don't do that. Like, I'm not a resolution person. I don't think January 1st is all of a sudden some magic thing. But for 2025, I did. I was like, I just need to get to the end of this year. I need to be able to close the chapter on 2024. And 2025 is going to be different. And 2025 has been different. It really has been. I started working on my attitude. I started working on kind of my exit plan for getting out of that job, which I did. My attitude is far better than it used to be. My spirit is far better than it used to be. Now I'm on the carnivore and I'm getting results from that physically with my health. And so 2025 has been a really good year. And I'm not necessarily happy to see it go. Yeah, I'm in a bit of a funk right now, but progress is coming from this. Like, good things are coming from it. I'm figuring out where I need to heal. And so I remember at the end of 2024 thinking, okay, 25 and 26 are going to be the years. They're going to be good years. 25 is going to be the big bang. I'm going to put in a lot of work. And then 2026 is going to be good too. Like, these 2 years, I'm not making any bets about 2027. I don't know. But 2026, I feel like is going to be good, just like 2025 is or has been. And so I don't necessarily want to see 2025 go, but I am excited for 2026. I'm ready to see what the next chapter is. Jose and I both have had this feeling that something's coming, something good, right? Like the year my mom in 2024 at the beginning of the year, like, I'm not psychic or anything, but I had a feeling. I looked at Jose one night in January, in the beginning of the year, and I said, this is the year I'm going to lose my mom, isn't it? And I'll be damned if I didn't lose her that year, right? So I don't have any of those kinds of feelings about the upcoming year, about 2026. I don't feel icky about anything. I feel excited about it. we both think that change is coming, and we both think it's good change. We don't know what it is. So this is where I've spent a lot of time in kind of thought and prayer about discernment, making sure that Jose and I both individually and together are kind of able to discern the things that are right for us and aren't right for us, individually and as a couple together. And so we've both been on a spiritual journey, and I'm not going to talk a lot about Jose because it's not my place to talk about him. But as a couple, as the wife of a couple, I will say that we're going somewhere. We don't know where it is. It's kind of cool because I've always been very change averse, and I'm not change averse right now at all. I'm ready for whatever's coming. So um, I just, I guess I just wanted to talk about all of that. Like, there's so many different things, but I had another conversation today with a student where she said to me that she was encouraging me to build my TikTok, which I do have a TikTok, and I had started to build it, and then it's weird. I don't know what happened. I left my job, and then I stopped getting on TikTok. My last TikTok was the day I got my copy of the gratitude journal that I had written that's on Amazon. And I made a TikTok about that. And I don't think I've made a TikTok since then. I haven't opened TikTok since September. I haven't even looked at it. But I was telling her, I actually really like the long format of YouTube much better. I don't think that I'm witty and viral in chunks, like short chunks, right? Like I don't think I'm a 30-second winner. I think that my appeal, my strength is in spending time. And so, and I told her, I said, I'm focused on why I have the YouTube is because I truly believe at the end of it, wherever it goes, I will have helped people. However this plays out, whatever I'm doing this for, it is, the goal is to help people. I have a degree in sociology and psychology. I double majored in college, and then I have a master's degree in education. And the reason why I have those, I don't say that because I'm really proud of my degrees. I say that to show you that I've always been on a path to want to help people. By experience, however, because I've worked for a nonprofit, I've worked in education, I've worked in public health, I've worked in helping places. My experience has been that the systems that currently exist are not meant for me in the way I can help people. I don't mean to sound like I'm some elite helper or anything like that. It's just that I think there is kind of a more singular thing that I'm meant to do. And I am overwhelmed by this feeling that the thing I'm meant to do is to in some way share my story, and that can help people. Because it's interesting when we look back on our lives, like our first thought when I say something like share your story, you might think, well, my stories, I'm just a normal person. And I've always kind of thought that too. I've always, my first instinct is, well, I mean, shit happens in life. I've had shit happen, but I'm just a human, right? But I've actually had some pretty remarkable things happen in my life. um, I've had some instances where I believe I should have died and I didn't. I had a massive brain tumor. Um, I, 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 I got into an accident after I had been drinking and I drove, and I'm not proud of that, but I walked away from that with some changes that have led me to where I am. Um, my brother was killed when he was only 28 years old. I um I raised four boys. largely by myself. Um, I I watched my mother pass away. I, there's a lot of things that have happened, and I've learned a lot. And I feel like if I believe, which I do, if I believe that God put me here for two things. I believe He put me here to help people and for teaching, for educating. Okay. Obviously, the education piece doesn't come in the public school system, but I think I've always been a teacher, and I think I've always been a helper. And that's really all I want to be, is a teacher and a helper in whatever way that looks, right? Whatever that looks like. So when I do things like mess up on somebody's order, when the reason why people get a delivery, like order things through an app to get delivered to their house, like shopped for and delivered to their house, the reason why they do that is because they need help. That's my assumption. Okay. There may be people who are just lazy or have enough money to do it because they have tennis lessons. I don't know. I always assume that I'm helping. I always assume I'm helping a mom is what I actually assume. Even if it's a man's name, I still assume I'm helping a parent, right? That parent is busy. They have soccer and they have piano and they have all these things and they have a full-time job and they just need some help. And so I'm the one that got their order. And so I need to help them, which means I need to do it right. I need to be effective and I need to be efficient at my job so that I can help those people. It may just be another one of the examples of stories I tell myself, but I get a sense of satisfaction from that. I do know I actually have talked to some of the customers, and they've usually if somebody comes to the door and actually wants to talk to you, then they're going to share and something about themselves. And I had one just last week. She was so sweet. And I told her, thank you for ordering. I was so glad to do your order today. And she was like, no, thank you. You have no idea how much you have helped me. And my heart just grew. Like I was the Grinch, right? It felt so good to have someone tell me that I helped them, because it's what I want to do, right? And so it's part of the reason why I do the carnivore vlog, because I have found that out there in the social media world, things are very highly produced. They're very scripted. It's probably why I've been hesitant to change a lot of stuff and make it more interesting or whatever it is. Because at the end of the day, all I really want to be able to offer is my true authentic self, flaws and all. Um, and the cool thing, of course, the cool things about me too, I think, and I say I have flaws, and of course we all do, but there's also some really awesome things about me too. I'm not going to try to pretend that I'm not an awesome person, because I am. And I have enough self-love to be able to say that. But I want to be able to offer that just honestly the way it is. And when I'm in this season of change and figuring it out and deciding where things are going to go and trying to discern what I'm supposed to do, then this is what it looks like right now. And it's honest. I'm not highly producing my life or my experiences to make you jealous of me. I want you to see what it really is to be me, and that it's okay to not be perfect, right? And maybe that can help someone. That's the whole point. That is the whole point. The whole point is that someone can see themselves in me and go, you know what? That woman has beautiful children. She has a loving and faithful husband. She has a wonderful relationship with her siblings and her dad, parents before mom passed. Like, I have a wonderful extended family. I have a job that I currently enjoy. I have this garden. I have these chickens. I have this tiny little house that I love, even though it's tiny. Like, I have all of these things. I have so many things that make me so successful. Do I have money in the bank? No, not really. Do I worry about my bills? Yeah, I do. But did you just hear the list of all the things I have? right? Like I can't complain, right? I can't complain. I feel like I have said it before to people that it has never in my life been lost on me that I delivered 4 healthy children and raised them to adulthood. So starting from their birth when they were all healthy, I realized it. You know what a blessing that is? And then as we made it through their raising and we didn't have any major surgeries or health issues, or do you know what a blessing that is? The fact that every single one of them has made it to adulthood. And now I get to start thinking about their weddings and grandchildren and them graduating college and all of the, do you know what a blessing that is? Because I do. I really, really do. And if my whole life had only been being able to raise those children, raise my 4 boys to be the adult men that they are now, I would have been fine and I would have been extremely grateful. But I have so much more. I have Jose, I have this marriage, I have this little piece of property, I have the physical ability to go out and make a living. I have so much. And I just I want to be able to take the things that I've been given and turn them into a way to help other people. And so that's what we're doing here. I'm just talking right now. I'm going to stop here. I have an end to this video because this video is actually all about the garden progress, because I probably don't brag on my husband enough, but man, he is an impressive human being. And having someone like that who he has over the last year really kind of jumped into this gardening thing with me. And for the first couple of years, he was like, it's your garden, I'm doing my thing, which is fine. Like I was fine with that. But now that he's getting excited about the garden and he's doing all of these things, it's just so cool. You know, it's so cool that he and I get to be out there together. And even though I don't last nearly as long as he does outside, I do, you know, I do want to brag on him a little bit because that man's willing to do anything. And I don't know if he means it, like if he overtly means it, but to me, it's a really strong symbol of love. It's a really strong showing of his love. And I know that he probably probably be like, well, yeah, I love you. I mean, of course, you know, I want a garden though, but I don't think that's what it is. I'm telling myself this story because I like it, but I think that it's a way for us to be closer, to do kind of the same thing at the same time and spend time together and work together on a project. That'll tell you a lot about your relationship if you can work together on a project. And it's just so freaking cool. And so I do want this video to also be about that. It's kind of a crossover of scratching the dirt and scratching the surface. But I do want y'all to see the amount of work he put in this past weekend, and just see how exciting. We're really excited about next spring, about what we're going to be doing in the garden, and you know how the property is changing yet again. And so, okay. So Jose's still working. I wanted to do an after on the same day so y'all can see this man is insane and has too much energy. So I'm over here. Obviously, this is the onion bed. I'm going to show you everything he did. This bed has been added. This was the pepper bed that was over there. So this is here. It got moved over here and he filled it back up with dirt. There underneath this end is like an old tree stump where honestly we used to dump like rocks and stuff. So we're going to see if putting this on top with like shallow rooted plants will help break that down underneath, and it is at an angle because of that. it's popped up on the side, but hopefully over time it will go down. So, like I said, I did not touch anything in this bed at all. Looks like, I don't know if he added more leaves or not, but I did come in. I took everything out of here, and then all of the other work done here was Jose. He took all of the weed fabric, the rest of it up on this side. He built these rows up with the existing dirt that was here. And then he also took the sage and put it in the ground. Now, remember, we have clay. So that was like a booger. I watched him dig that hole, and but it's in the ground, so it's right next to the plumbago. And then I thought, I didn't chop and drop. I chopped into here. This is everything that was in the pepper and tomato bed, chopped up into small pieces underneath this stuff. But that's what that is, all down in there. That was all of the tomato and pepper plants that I pulled out. And then Jose went ahead and he came over here and he took both those beds out. There's the big one. The little one is the one that I just showed you that got moved over by the fence. And he's already like established, like I said, the 3 rows. So 1 row here, 1 row here, and 1 row here. He also cut all this grass that was over here earlier today. So in that before video, you could see there was a whole lot more grass here. I was actually from this angle when I showed it. So you can see, remember, it used to come all the way up into this row. And he pulled all of this grass out. All this right here. So lots of progress. He even got that blackberry bush up. Like dug it up out of the ground. What's been going on here? Nothing changed against the house today. Nothing changed in the middle except for the sage getting planted. But look at all this, y'all. I went in. I have a foot problem, which I probably have already talked about on the commentary by now. But I was in pain. I was walking funny, and I was really, really struggling. So I went in and I did inside chores, and I worked on schoolwork and stuff. And he came in and ate and went back out. And he's been busting his booty. I don't know if you can see him sitting on the stairs because that man deserves a break. So that's the after. The after. Isn't that crazy? Look at how much progress in one day. This man is insane. I do know that the plan is, now that the rows are like established, like where they're going to be. I mean, obviously these aren't the final rows, but we are going to take the chop and drop stuff and put it on the rows, and we're going to add more leaves because we have pecan trees all over the property. We're going to add leaves, and we're going to take some of the compost that's ready, and we're going to go ahead and put it and let it spend the winter decomposing in place and start building up the beneficial worms and things like that. So that's where we are. Good job, Jose. I'm going to go ahead and stop talking now, but thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. Thank you for giving me a place to talk it out and, share some of the things that I'm going through. I hope that something I say, even if it's just a tiny little nugget of something, I hope that it helps you. And if you want to share with me, I love comments. I love to, I'm going to be real honest. I'm not the best I don't log in every day. I haven't quite built that habit yet, but I do respond to every comment, and I do recognize people when they take the time to talk to me via YouTube comments. And I appreciate you when you do. So feel free to share, whatever, ask questions. Feel free to ask questions. I'll answer. Honestly, as long as it doesn't encroach on somebody else's privacy, I'll always answer honestly. I'll share myself honestly because I am responsible for myself. But I will not take responsibility for other people's truths. I'm not going to share those with you. Makes sense? Anyway, ask questions, leave a comment. Thank you for being here. Please subscribe so you can, come back and see the progress not only on the garden, but on because we're growing a Nikki here too. And so there's definitely going to be progress there. Hit the notifications if you want to know when I post, because I do not post regularly at the moment. That's a goal to get back to that. And I appreciate you. I really do. I thank you for being here. And I love you. And in some way, I want to be able to help you. So hopefully this is a little bit of help to you in some way. You have a wonderful day. Have a wonderful rest of the year. I'm rooting for you. And I'm hoping you'll come back and scratch the dirt with me